Okay, that's a pretty hard act to follow. As Patty clarified, I think there has been a little confusion on our retirement date. As she mentioned, we will officially retire at the end of August, but today is our very last Dharma school service here in the Hondo as the ministers of the Sacramento Betsuin Dharma School. And we want to thank our BWA and Jim Tsuda for their help this last week with Omigaki. They came in and we took apart the altar and polished, and so it looks really even more beautiful this morning. As we bring our 32 years of Dharma school services with the Sacramento Betsuin to a close, I've been asking myself for months, what do I want to share in this last Dharma school service? Well, like the Warriors last night at OKC, down to game 6, lose and go home. They were down 8 to start the fourth quarter, and with 6 minutes to play, I was on my feet the whole time. And the entire team knew if they were going to do something, they had to do it now. Now was the time. And they did it. In a way, knowing this would be our last Dharma school service with the Betsuin, I've been thinking, if I have anything to say, I better say it now. I felt like the Warriors. And after a few days of thinking about this, I told Patty, I think I pretty much said everything I have to say. And more importantly, I realized more deeply that I have had a better life than I could ever have imagined. And that's a wonderful thing. How fulfilling it has been to simply try to create an environment of comfortable reflection where we can all come together, look deeply into the mirror of the Dharma, and remember again all the things that we know will help guide us through the inevitable changes and challenges of life. Before Patty and I came here to Sacramento in 1984, she probingly asked me, why would you want to become a minister again? Because I had taken a leave of absence. Why would you want to become a minister again? And I recall telling her, what other occupation could I pursue where my most important responsibility is just to try to be the best and realest person that I can possibly be? And this perspective was a gift from my mentor and teacher, Dr. Moksem Miyuki. And as I've shared often, in our first seminar together, when I had him as my teacher, I asked him, Sensei, what is the goal of Buddhism? And many of you know his response to me was really wonderful. It wasn't the goal of Buddhism is enlightenment, the goal is awakening. Miyuki Sensei said, the goal of Buddhism is to become a true human being of no rank. A true human being of no rank. And I knew at that moment that I had to learn from this man. But at that moment, without knowing it, to become a true human being of no rank became my unspoken and hoped for goal in life. So I was able to say to Patty, what other occupation could I pursue where the most important responsibility was just to try to be the best and realest person I can be, a true human being. In Buddhism, we are always striving to get in touch with our true humanity. And in living with reflection, in coming here and looking deeply into the Dharma mirror, we are constantly discovering our true humanity as we live through the changing circumstances of our lives. If you take any foreign language, there always seems to be a first dialogue that we're asked to memorize, right? If you take French or German, doesn't matter what language, Japanese, same thing. Two people meet, They exchange polite greetings, and one of them always seems to be going to the library. If we study Japanese, it's the same. The first standard dialogue, two people meet, and they ask one another, how are you? And in Japanese, the question is phrased, O genki desu ka? O genki desu ka? Translated, how are you? The reply, Hai, o genki desu, Hai, genki desu, is translated as, oh, I'm fine, thank you. But the phrase genki desu ka is more than just how are you. Genki literally means original spirit. Original spirit. In other words, the question, O genki desu ka, is asking, are you in touch with your true self? The real you. Are you connected to your true humanity? Trying to be genuine and real is essential to Buddhism. It is our goal. And as I've often said, Buddhism is not about being nice. It's about being real. If our goal in life is just to be nice, more often than not, we will not be real. Looking back, I now realize that for the past 3+ decades, being here has allowed me the opportunity to fulfill a dream I did not know that I had. When I began my career at the Los Angeles Betsuin in 1975, whenever I had suggestions to try to improve or rethink programs we had at that temple, I was usually told 3 things by the senior ministers and members. The 3 things I would hear often is, you're young, you're sansei, you're 3rd generation, and you don't understand. And I would respond, I'm young, and that will change. I'm sansei, that won't. And whether I understand or not, I think is up for discussion. Those 4 years, I think, they were frustrating at times, far from fulfilling. And I felt being there was just not a good fit for me. I was making poor life decisions, and so I took a leave of absence from active ministry. And I was really not sure what I was going to do next with my life. I really wondered if my life had taken a wrong turn. And it's interesting that after about 4 years away from the temple, both my dad and my younger brother Steve, at different times, they both asked me, so, when are you going back to become a minister? And I know I said to my dad, I don't know if I'll ever go back. And my dad, matter-of-factly, looked at me and said, you will. And when I asked him why he would say that, my dad said, it's the only thing you're any good at. It's a true story. And I tried to argue with him, and say, Dad, there's a lot of things I could do. And he just smiled, waved his hand, and walked away. He said, it's the only thing you're any good at. And it's something that Patty would later say to me too. She said, I knew you'd go back for the same reasons that my dad and brother felt. So for the kids here, I want you to know that our parents and our siblings and the people who are really close to us will often know us better than we think we know ourselves. So listen to them when they give advice, especially if they're walking away from you smiling. I know that Patty remembers when we drafted a letter to then Bishop Yamaoka indicating that I would return if I could be assigned here to the Sacramento Betsuin. Remember that? And I'm so glad that George Kondo, who was one of the elders of our Board of Trustees back then, told me that the bishop offered my name for the Betsuin to consider, but he added his disclaimer that I really like. He said, he's available, but I wouldn't take him if I were you. And so today, I want to thank all of the past and the present leaders and members of the Betsuin for allowing us this opportunity to fulfill a dream that we did not know we had. To come here under Board President Hank Nishikawa, who was not just president, but a great protector. For I know there were many leaders wondering, what is this guy going to do here? And to retire with the complete support of our President Gordon Nita, I couldn't ask for a better beginning or ending. There's a story that we sometimes share because it's the theme of the Legacy Endowment Program. When Reverend Yukawa was Rinban of the Betsuin, we had a blast. It was so wonderful working with him. And some quiet mornings or afternoons, we'd sit together and talk. And I remember once asking him as we chatted, what is the essence of Buddhism? I asked him, Sensei, what is the essence of Buddhism? And with very little hesitation, he said, it's the feeling of okage-sama de, the feeling of okage-sama. Many of you know this phrase. It's the textbook expression, the response to the question that I mentioned earlier, O genki desu ka? How are you? The textbook response is, okage-sama de genki desu. Okage-sama literally means O is an expression of honorific greatness. It's one of deep respect. Kage means shadow or shade, and sama means person or people. So okage-sama literally means because I live within the shade of many people, I am fine. Okage-sama de genki desu. When we say okage-sama de genki desu, we are saying, because I live within the shade of so many, I am fine. Because of the efforts of so many, I am able to connect with my most genuine self. And because of all of you, we have been able to enjoy a truly remarkable life. I'd like to thank all of you, past leaders and members, present leaders and members, and friends of the Betsuin, for trusting Patty and I with the care of this wonderful temple. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives and the lives of your children, grandchildren. And again, thank you to all past and present leaders and members for trusting us with this Sangha and really making a dream come true for Patty and I. I know we will never stop feeling, because we live within your great shade, we have enjoyed this truly wonderful life. Okage-sama de genki desu. Because of you, we have been realizing again and again what is truly of value in living each day. And we will all, forever, be interconnected in the karmic fabric of life. Thank you very much for joining us this morning and every Sunday morning through the past 32 years. Please join me in Gassho. Thank you for trusting Patty and I with the care of this wonderful temple and Sangha, for allowing us to be a part of your lives and the lives of your children and grandchildren. Thank you to the past and present leaders and members of the Betsuin for allowing us the opportunity to fulfill a dream we never knew we had. We will always be connected forever in the karmic fabric of life. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida.